So everybody, or almost everybody, received a new AA system in the last update, but there are three nations that still don't get anything, and I have a feeling that they will come very soon into the game. And we're gonna talk about the three of them, basically, or three options for each country, right? We're gonna talk about the UK, the Italians, and the French, since of course the US, the Germans, the USSR, the Japanese, although the Japanese can receive some better things, but still, the Chinese can receive better things, but still, the Swedish and the Israelis all got new AA. So, Italy, France, and the British are the only ones left in this list, right? So let's talk about three models for each of these. Or, I mean, one for each, right? So the first one that I think absolutely needs to be added in the next update, it is the Thales VL Mica NG. So this is basically a vertically launched Mica launcher, right? It is a multi-vehicle system, of course, and it uses basically the same idea from something like the IRIS-T SLM and the SLAM-RAM, stuff like that, right? Basically having missiles that are already in service for air-to-air and introduce them into the ground-to-air situation or an anti-air situation, right? So basically uses the Mica NG, in this case, the new next generation, which is an improvement over the older Micas, right? It can be used with the active radar homing or the IR Seeker version. They will have a range up to 40 kilometers, maybe more. It depends very much, classified stuff, but on the very least, he will have the same range as an IRIS-T or something like that, right? On the very least. Probably more, but on the very least. It would have an EASA radar in the system itself, operation, right? Of course, it would be vertically launched, just like the IRIS-T. Typically, we would have 4 to 6 vertically launched Mica tubes, of course, per vehicle, right? One command vehicle, one radar vehicle, or an external radar link as well can be used, but and then 2 to 4 launcher vehicles with around 8 to 24 missiles ready to be fired, okay? So in the game, we will probably see the radar vehicle together with 2 launchers. That would be the normal thing that we are seeing, right? Of course, fire and forget missiles, cold vertically launched, which is pretty good. 360 degrees since they are vertically launched, so you can fire to any direction. This helps a little bit. So yeah, a very cool vehicle. Nothing too much OP, like it's not like a Patriot compared to what we have with the SLAM-RAM, for example, right? We kind of... It's around the same performance that we already have in the game, so it wouldn't be that OP. So that's why I think it needs to be added ASAP, probably in the next update. Then we have the British one, which is one of the weirdest ones at the same time, but yeah, the MBDA CAM, or the Sky Saber, or the Sky Scepter. It has many names depending on the actual vehicle itself and how it's used and stuff, but the Land Scepter, not the Sky Scepter. The Land Scepter Sky Saber. It's a very British name, I would say, right? But this system here is very similar to the Mica, very similar to other systems that we already have. The idea here is multi-vehicle, mechanic, of course. It would use as the main missile the CAM, which is the Common Anti-Air Modular Missile. This missile is, it has some common grounds with the SRAM, right, which is an air-to-air missile that the British developed, right? So it's on par with AIM-9Xs, IRIS-T, stuff like that, right? But it's not the same missile, okay? It's a different missile. It just uses some technology from that. It is normally an active radar homing seeker that it uses here. I heard it from some sources that it could be using other missiles here, but in a general sense, it would be that, okay? Active radar homing. And the idea here is, of course, more than 25 kilometers of range. Active radar homing seeker, like I said. And yeah, there is an under development version out of this missile that will have more range, okay? But for now, it would be this version. The radar, of course, in its own vehicle would be an EASA radar. It's the Giraffe, right? So EASA, again. I think they are built by Saab, which is pretty interesting. And then, of course, we would have normally manned vehicles, MAN, the normal truck that we have with the IRIS-T, right? Or something similar to that. You would have one Giraffe vehicle, which is the radar, one, Sky Saber unit, which is like the command unit, and then 3 to 6 mobile launchers, right? 24 to 48 missiles ready. This would be a normal kind of idea. Of course, in the game, it would probably have the Giraffe Raider together with 2 launchers. That probably is the way that they are going to do that. It has a 2-way data link with mid-course updates, of course. Soft launch, cold gas ejection, cold launched, sometimes called, right, as well. And of course, very modular, and it can fire the missiles with the accelerator homing, right? So fire and forget as well. So it is a very interesting vehicle, very similar to other vehicles that we already have. It will have its own British missile, its own, Swedish radar apparently, and yeah, it would be a very interesting vehicle. Nothing like too OP as well. It's nothing compared to a Patriot or an S-300 or something. It's more of a medium range AA as well, right? So it needs to be added right now, hopefully in the next update. Then we have the one that it's the hardest to actually add, but I would believe that they can add it as well. It's the Italian CAM ER, basically the same as the British, but with a different missile, a different radar. In a general sense, they didn't get, added to proper service right now. They should be starting production right now. I think it's very early stages. We might see some of them, I think the entry in service is supposed to be this year or something like that, okay? So, yeah. And the better part about this is that apparently this is using a better missile than the CAM. So, we might see the normal British one, the Sky Saber that I talked about, with a better missile as well. Just because the Italian one, the only missile that it can actually carry apparently is the ER, because they are buying with this missile. So, the better version out of it, right? And it would be fine because the British actually only has apparently around 25 kilometers of range. This one has around 45. The other missiles should be around there as well, the Mika and stuff. So it would make sense, right? So just bear that in mind. But the idea here is basically that it's the same vehicle with some Italian stuff on it. So like I said, it would have an improved missile. Maybe the same missile would be added for the British, around 45 or more kilometers of range. So basically the same warhead or a similar warhead to the CAM, but a larger booster for added range, right? It would probably be like the Iris-T SLM compared to the normal Iris-T in terms of how they perform to each other, right? Of course, for radar, it has a Grifo radar, and, apparently they didn't decide yet. I mean, integrated with the Grifo, but there are other situations out there, the Leonardo Kronos Land ISR. I didn't understand what radar they're trying to understand. If the Grifo is actually the name of the fire control, it's kind of confusing, but because there is a Grifo radar out there, so I don't know. But overall, Italian radar, AESA, okay. And of course, command vehicle, the MADS, multifunction AESA radar, Kronos or something like that, 2 to 4 launchers, 8 to 38 missiles. Okay, so normally in the game, probably just the AESA radar launch, vehicle, together with 2 launchers, right? High mobility, of course, they are very mobile, etc., etc. Vertically launched, cold launched, and it would be basically the same as the British one. Maybe with a little bit more range. I wouldn't doubt that they will add the better British missile for an Italian vehicle. It would be very funny, and it's something that they normally do, right? So I wouldn't be surprised, but hopefully they add this missile, which has more range, to the British one as well, right? But basically, this is it, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment. Thank you all the members and patrons. And let me know in the comments, what do you think is the next AA system that they need to add? For me, these 3 nations deserve something. The French, the British, and Italians are the only ones that don't have a properly modern AA system, although the ITO in the French is pretty good. The ADATs, I think it's okay for the British, but we need more, right? The Italians is the one that suffers the most on AAs, but yeah. So I see you guys, and bye.